Okay, awesome, awesome. Are we ready to go ahead and dive into it? Okay, cool, cool. Thanks. Hey, Ray, I see your thumbs. Love it. Awesome. Well, hello, good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here. My name is Kendall Perez. I am, as James mentioned earlier, I am the liaison at Handshake. I am relatively new to my role. I recently hit my 90-day period, which is exciting. And I will want to mention that when I first went to college, I had no idea what the hell I was going to do. Um, I I remember when I was like 8 or 9, I mentioned that to my family. I was like, "Oh, I want to be a doctor," because I was a child. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. It was kind of like doctor, teacher, fireman. And I said doctor. And my family really went with that because school was kind of my thing compared to like me and my brothers. Um, but I went to college thinking like, okay, I'm going to be a cardiologist. And like a year into my bio major, I was like, it's not clicking for me. I have no idea what I want to do. Um, and thankfully, I had some really great mentors during my time in higher ed. I was a first generation college student, so no one in my family went to college, so it was hard to kind of like have them understand the ins and outs. But I was really very unsure for a while as to what I wanted to do. And then after like talking to some folks and getting involved on campus, I realized that there was a whole industry out there pertaining to higher education. So I decided to go that route. I decided to pursue a career in education. I initially started off working with students living in on-campus housing. And then I worked with students who were kind of going through like mental health concerns. And then I took a pivot. About 3 years ago, I pivoted to working with a platform that supports international students who were studying in the US. Um, and then I was in that position for a few years, and then I pivoted on over to Handshake. Um, I say that just kind of as like a personal foundation that just kind of highlights that for a lot of folks here and a lot of folks in general, it's very normal to do some pivots in your own personal career. If you're kind of like figuring out like what you want to do or like if you're unsure, definitely talk to folks on campus, kind of help brainstorm. But just know that if you're not exactly 100% sure, that's totally okay and that's totally normal. If you are 100% sure, that's awesome. I remember my friend Olivia, she from the day she was like 13 was like, I'm going to be a lawyer. And she's now a lawyer. She was very assured in that path, and that is something that she pursued. I was the opposite. I was like, I'm kind of unsure in my element. But just as folks are coming into this call, my goal for today is to showcase how you can leverage Handshake for some of that career exploration, for some of those searching opportunities. But Handshake is not your only resource available. You do have a whole team on campus who are there to support you. So just make sure that we're using our resources. We're already doing that fantastically, just with us all being in this call. But my goal for today is really just to go over how you can leverage Handshake for your own personal career journey. So I have some slides that I'm going to go ahead and start out with just to go ahead and lay a foundation. Um, so I'm going to go ahead and pull that up. Can y'all see my screen okay? I think it's still loading. Okay, but do you see that individual looking at their phone? Okay, cool. Um, so I want to go ahead and just share a few different slides just to kind of, again, set up our foundation as to what Handshake is and how it can be leveraged to support you in your own career journey. So This is basically what our agenda looks like today. We're going to talk about a little bit of what Handshake is and the important steps as to what you want to take to building out your profile, whether you're a first-time user or maybe you've used it before, or maybe you're dabbled here and there, but you haven't really set things up. And then we'll go ahead and do more of a live demo so we can explore the platform together in a real-time setting. Okay, but Handshake, in a nutshell, it is a college to career platform that's really meant to support folks in finding a job, networking, restarting, or jump starting their career. The great thing about Handshake is that it is really centered for folks who are starting their career or who are pivoting their career. Um, Oh, excuse me. Okay, sorry about that. That just crept on. But we like to say that no experience, connections, or luck is required, as you can find all those things explicitly on the platform itself. So, a few different reasons as to why you should use Handshake is one, probably the biggest one, is being able to get hired. Handshake is a very large platform. I've now run into multiple folks since moving to San Francisco who have mentioned they're like, oh my gosh, I got my first job at Handshake, or I got an internship there, or we use Handshake to hire students. So it's been really exciting just to be a part of that team. Um, but this is where you can go to search for different opportunities to be able to get discovered by employers. So you can connect with peers, you can connect with employers, you can connect with alums, you can connect with other folks from different universities. And I'll showcase how you can do that. And then there's also a bunch of great additional resources that are through your career center that you can leverage on the Handshake platform. Okay. So one, about getting hired. So in terms of the employers that we have on the platform, we have almost 1 million employers from all shapes and sizes. We're very well represented with having 100% of Fortune 100 companies on the platform. So if you're like really seeking those big names that you want to be able to work for, add to your resume, we have a lot of those big names. We also do have a lot of small to mid-size employers too. So if maybe you like working within a small team, you want to work at a small business. Um, there are hundreds of thousands of small businesses on the platform, as well as also some of those very large companies like you see here. In terms of like getting discovered, there's a lot of opportunities for you to build out your profile. I'm going to be talking a lot about building out your profile because the system works best the more information you feed it. So doing things like filling out your job preferences or being able to add experiences, those are only going to elevate your own personal experiences on the platform. Um, so we'll talk about some must-haves that you want to do when building out your profile. And some of those must-haves include those three elements that I have here, which include job type, location, and job roles. So I'll go ahead and share those different types here. I do have an example from an alum from a student who graduated a few years ago. So I'm going to be viewing as them, just so you can see exactly what your instance would look at for CCSF. But within those three different buckets, again, the job type, it's essentially what are you seeking? Are you looking for an internship? Are you looking for something full-time? Location, it's basically exactly that. Are you looking mainly within the Bay Area? Are you open to Southern California? All those different regions. And then the different types of job roles associated to the types of jobs that you're looking for. So these are going to be like the three must-haves because that putting in these elements is going to better shape your overall experience. And I'll showcase how when we dive into the platform live. Um, So again, kind of mentioned this already, but the more you personalize it, the more relevant it becomes for you. So for example, if I'm a student and I'm interested in teaching opportunities. And I indicate that in my profile, the system is going to showcase more educational opportunities as opposed to like cybersecurity or nursing. It'll know based on those details, and it'll show me opportunities that are relevant to what I'm currently seeking. So in terms of being able to search and find employers, I don't want to dive super deep into these slides because I think we're gonna cover this more in our live session. But just know you have the ability to be able to search by elements like industries, by majors, by work authorization preferences. I worked with international students for 3 years, and I love the international student community. So there are ways for you to be able to specifically filter based on things like work authorization. You can look at different on-campus employment, and again, Handshake is going to provide some suggestions just depending on how robust you build out your profile. Again, you can go ahead and favorite different opportunities. You can set up alerts for employers. So if there are certain employers that you're like, yes, it would be my dream to work for this company, you can go ahead and favorite them. You can go ahead and add alerts and reminders to different postings that they have in your notification settings. Again, we'll run through that when we dive into the platform itself. Same thing with saving your searches. That's always an option, which is great. Again, I recommend that when you have time, investing some of that time to do things like setting up your job preferences or your profile or some saved searches. For me, and this is going back to my days when I was initially searching for opportunities, I remember I had someone who was a classmate of mine, and they were searching for jobs every single day. Um, for me, that was a little overwhelming. That's just not how I personally operate. So for me, Monday nights was my night. Monday night, I dedicate, a couple hours and look through opportunities, submit applications, as opposed to doing it every single night. But your system, I would say, is going to work best for you, just trying to, flush out that system. But I'd recommend investing some time when you know that um, I'd recommend investing some time in the near future just to get some of your preferences set up. So when you log into the platform, you already have that foundation. Okay, and these are just some additional alerts, notifications that you can go ahead and set up. I'll go ahead and showcase exactly that as we dive in. And lastly, you can go ahead and get connected by attending different events. I see that there's a couple events going on in April at CCSF, which is really exciting. So we'll go ahead and showcase those and preview some of those. You can also message employers, you can message alums, and you can also get some expert help from your career center where they have some um, specific resources for you. Lastly, we are on the mobile app, which is exciting. As you know, we're a lot more connected to our phones than sometimes we are to our desktops. I definitely recommend downloading the mobile app. It's a lot easier sometimes to engage in those connections if you receive a message and you're kind of a phone and you're a texter. That could be a good way just to leverage the resources available. Which is exciting. I downloaded the mobile app like 2 months ago, and I saw that there was over 100,000 reviews. I was like, wow, that is a lot. But anyways, so now I want to dive straight into the platform itself. So let me go ahead and pop this open on my end, um, and we'll go from there. Again, if there are any questions along the way, please definitely feel free to utilize the chat feature. Do a pretty good job of monitoring that, but in case we have any questions at the end, we can also dive into those at that point. Okay, awesome. So I am currently viewing as a student who graduated 3 years ago. I wanted to view as a student who looks like they got an opportunity and they haven't been logging on in a while. So I'm not like, we're not doing anything weird with a current student. Um, so thank you, Jacob. But this is what your instance looks like at a first glance for the City College of San Francisco. Now, on the home dashboard, we right now are on the Explore page. So Jacob was a cybersecurity major, and Jacob did an excellent job in terms of putting in some of their account details in terms of what are they looking for, what types of industries. So you see for some of these, we're going to see more opportunities that are related to that field. Maybe more like data scientists, information technology, IT specialists, things that are relevant to, in this example, for Jacob. You'll also see um, some different resources on the Explore page. There might be some different videos from some peers. Um, Now, if your Explore page is looking either maybe a little bland or maybe you're seeing opportunities that are not relevant to what you're looking for, there's going to be an option right here that says update your career interests. So this is where you can go ahead and update those like three important tips that we mentioned in that one slide. So you can go ahead and look at what type of jobs are you looking for. So if you're looking for more internships, you can indicate that there. If you're looking for like campus employment, full-time, whatever that may be. Here are the different types of roles, and you can put in a bunch of different roles. So if you want to add a different variety of positions that you may be looking for, I definitely recommend inputting those details so then the system will know to show you opportunities that you are specifically seeking. Same thing with different industries as well as also locations. So if you are from the Bay and you are a Bay Area person for life, awesome. You can specifically put the Bay here. If you're open maybe to other areas, like I'm from Southern California, so maybe if you wanted to put like LA or San Diego, you can put that there. You can have multiple different options. But those notifications are going to be on your profile. So if you go like to your profile on the upper right hand side, this is where you can edit those details. So you can specifically mention what you're looking for. You can add skills that you have. You can add previous work experience, which this could be very helpful when engaging with employers. If you are wanting to connect with an employer, and the employer goes to look at your profile and they see that it's just completely blank, um, they might want to engage more with individuals where they have a better pulse as to who they are and what their experiences are. So I definitely recommend filling out this information. And that's what I meant by earlier when I said I recommend investing some time in the near future for you to establish your foundation. You can put in different courses that you've done. You can put in different organizations or projects that you've worked for. Same thing with different like languages or skill sets. Now, here you can also do things like manage your notifications, like I mentioned earlier. There is a lot of notifications that you can tinker with or adjust as appropriately. So things like if you want new messages emailed out to you, or you want an email when you get a new message, you can input that there. Um, all of these different features you can schedule your own notifications for. I know sometimes I've heard that feedback in the past that sometimes people are a little like, I'm overwhelmed by all the amount of emails that I'm getting. This is where you can go to manage that. Um, and if you need to adjust accordingly, you can go ahead and do that. I know there's a lot of information and a lot of emails, but it's all for good things. But again, if it's something where you're like, I need a pivot, I need to take a step back, you can go ahead and manage that here. This is also where you can upload certain documents to your profile. So you see here that Jacob did upload a resume and did make that resume public. So if employers did visit Jacob's profile, they can go ahead and view Jacob's work experience in their official resume. So you can upload different documents here to your profile, and you can indicate if you want that um, marked as public or as private. Uh, Okay, awesome. So that's just a little bit of like more of like the notification settings and setting up your foundation. Again, those ones that I really recommend are going to be more focused on your profile. So what you're looking for, what skills, what work experience. Um, and then based on that, the platform will showcase different opportunities. So I want to jump to the job side since I'm sure that's where most folks are a little bit more eager to understand. Um, so the jobs tab, this is where really you're going to be able to search for different opportunities. You can see here that the opportunities that are being showcased to me because I'm viewing as someone who was more in IT support or data security, we're seeing a lot of like cybersecurity jobs or IT infrastructure, software engineer, IT analysts, which makes sense. I did do a presentation for a school where most of their students were there for education type of roles. So I viewed as a different student who was specifically indicating that they were looking for K-12 jobs, and all those jobs here were looking completely different because those are completely different fields. Again, you'll see this tab right here that says want to see more relevant jobs, update your job preferences. Now, within the jobs tab, there's the ability to search by a bunch of different filters. So you can search specifically by different employment types. If you're looking for something that's more like internship or co-op or fellowship, you can go ahead and indicate that there. Um, you can go ahead and indicate, are you looking for things based on certain benefits? Are you looking for different opportunities like hybrid or in-person, remote? Um, you can also search by specific industries. So here are some like, just suggested ones there. Um, and also I talked about like work authorization. So if there are international students who are on the call either now or maybe in the future, if you want to specifically indicate and search for jobs where they're open to visa sponsorship, you can go ahead and indicate that, or for OPT or for CPT. Um, So maybe I want to look at something, and I'm going to do something that's relevant within Jacob's side of things. But let's go ahead and let's do San Francisco Bay Area. Love that. And maybe we want to look for something that is, let's do hybrid. And I want to go ahead and look for cybersecurity. Great. So here I'm going to go ahead and see the different opportunities that are available just based on those fields. Um, so these are all within the Bay Area that are cybersecurity related, and these ones are a hybrid positions. Now, some of these positions you'll be able to apply internally on Handshake. Very easy to be able to like apply real quickly within the platform. Some of them, they might be more of an external application, so it might lead you to their specific career page or website, but a lot of them are done internally. Now, what's really cool is that if you do have something like your resume already uploaded, you can easily attach that, answer a couple questions, and then boom, submit that application. Um, what's also really cool is that for these employers, there's going to be sections on the jobs that says what are they looking for. Um, So it looks like in this situation, this is an intern. So it looks like they are looking for current students. But I match on the cybersecurity side of things. This could be also a great way for you to do some of your own personal researching. When I was updating my resume, I found like 5 to 10 jobs that I was looking for, and I saw the common traits that they were asking about within those job descriptions. And I was like, okay, that one matches me, that one matches me, and these are all consistent within those different type of job postings. So that could be even a good way of almost doing that like reverse build for your own resume is find jobs that you're interested in and see what skill sets are they looking for. What's great here is that the system, if they input what they're looking for, it'll let you know as to whether or not you specifically match with those qualifications. So that could be a really cool opportunity there. Now, if I want to go ahead, if I want to go ahead and look at like save searches in the past, I can go ahead and let's see here. Let's look at like San Francisco. Now, if I'm like searching for positions and I really like what I have, sometimes it takes a little bit of trial and error. For example, like an English degree. People with English degrees can do so many things. I know folks with English degrees who are working in human resources. I know folks with English degrees who are doing like sales. I know folks in English degrees who are teaching English. All of those fields are pretty different. So sometimes it will take a little bit of trial and error to figure out exactly what to search for. And that's where you can work with your career services team members, just to help identify some of those common trends. But if once you find that sweet spot, maybe with all the different filters that you have on, I recommend giving that a save. You can just hit notify me when that happens, and then you can hit that manage notification settings, and then you can see the job alerts that I just set up. And you can indicate if you want email notifications, in-app push notifications on a daily or weekly basis of new jobs. Now I'm going to go ahead and delete that because this was just for example purposes. But again, once you find that sweet spot of what you're looking for, I definitely recommend giving that a save. So then when you log into the platform's doing the heavy lifting for you of all the different filters that you're already looking for. Now, the last thing I want to mention on the job side of things is there are specific collections that have been built out for CCSF students. We call these collections. So these collections are essentially like buckets that have been built out by your career services team. Um, and there are these different categories that they have built out here. So things like hidden gems or, popular with alumni. So maybe I want to look at like hidden gems and see what types of jobs are here. Um, and I'm seeing like a couple internship positions, communications coordinator. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, James, but I believe that these are organizations near campus or within San Francisco area that are great organizations, but a lot of folks might not have immediately heard of them. Um, so I could also recommend browsing from these different collections as these are already curated opportunities that have been built out by the experts that are catered for CCSF students. Okay. Now, the other side to the coin of the job side is employers. So there is a whole tab here for employers. Now, here on the employers, you can go ahead and search by different locations. You can search by different industries. I mentioned that we do have a lot of like small business employers here as well. But maybe you don't want to work at a small business. Maybe you want to work at an employer where they have, at least 10,000 employees. You can go ahead and indicate that there. So we can go ahead and do that. Let's play around with this. Let's look at maybe we want these big employers. Whoops. Okay, let's do all filters. Whoops. We're doing 10,000 plus. And we want them we're going to continue with San Francisco. So we can go ahead and search for those. Salesforce, no surprise there. Uh, just went to the Salesforce Garden for the first time a couple weeks ago, and that was pretty awesome. Um, anyways, but now we are seeing the employers that fit that category. Now if I want to go ahead and maybe let's like click on one of these. So if we maybe are interested in working at Salesforce, I can see a general overview of this employer. I can see what jobs they have available right now. Looks like a few different internships. Salesforce development representative, new grad, that might be awesome. Um, and I can also see different posts that they recently had. Um, so if there are maybe any postings that they have that they've submitted for other folks to be able to just have a little bit of an understanding in terms of who this employer is, a little bit of the culture around them. Now, there's also a cool opportunity on the overview side where you can also look at um, people within the employer. So I can see that a few folks have been active within the past 5 days. So maybe I was interested in that new grad opportunity. And I know my profile is up to date. Maybe I can go ahead and message Vincent and be like, hey, Vincent, I'm really interested in this position that y'all posted. I just applied. Do you have any tips or tricks for me that might help with this opportunity? Or if you see that someone from that employer posts a lot and they post a lot of career tips, you can go ahead and follow them. You can also follow employers specifically as well. So if I want to follow Salesforce, then I can go ahead and follow Salesforce as well. Now, additionally, I see. Okay. Additionally, beyond employers, you can also connect with specific people as well. What's really cool is that if folks decided to make their profile public, then you can go ahead and connect with folks all over the country. Um, Now you see initially the folks that I'm being shown are fellow students, City College of San Francisco. I'm seeing a lot of cybersecurity because again, as Jacob, I'm a cybersecurity alum. So right now looks like the system is recommending fellow cybersecurity alums from CCSF. Again, it's going to be more personalized for you the more information that you feed it. But maybe I want to look at multiple schools, and maybe I'm looking at City College of San Francisco, but I'm also want to look at University of San Francisco. And maybe I only want to look at alums. So now that filter's here, I can also search by majors. So maybe let's look at cybersecurity. Awesome. So now I'm seeing folks from City College of San Francisco and University of San Francisco who are alums within cybersecurity. So maybe if I'm interested in some freelance work, or maybe I just want to connect with someone, I could be like, oh, okay, let's look at Lil. Um, I can see, hey, Lil, we have a lot of similar skills. Um, I'm also looking at opportunities in the Bay. We graduated the same college and the same major. Let me message her. Let me see if that's something that they'd like to connect. Um, I've been hearing a lot of like I'm sure folks might be really tired of the word networking because it's thrown around a lot. It's always network, network, network. And full transparency, there is a lot of truth in that. There is a lot of truth in networking, but I've heard some students, from some peers that sometimes like, I don't want to be fake about it. I don't want to feel like I'm being so transactional. Um, but being able to expand on your network in a manner that feels true and genuine for you, that does take some practice, but also it's a that's going to be a very good skill that's going to take you very far. And a lot of times it's just finding those commonalities. It's finding those initial connections. So in this situation, it could be like, hey, we graduated from the same school, or they mentioned that they might be looking in Portland. Be like, oh my gosh, I love Portland. I visited at this point. Would love to connect. And just starting off with more of that commonality that feels authentic, that for me has worked well for me, so it doesn't feel so like forced. Um, so I'd recommend, as you continue to engage with your peers, finding a way to network that feels true to you, is going to be helpful. But again, maybe you're interested in transferring to, let's see here. Let's look at Cal State Fullerton because that's where I went for my undergrad. So let's look at Cal State Fullerton. And maybe you're looking to transfer into maybe we're looking specifically at accounting. Cool. So I can go ahead and specifically look for the folks here. I can also see if maybe I want to reach out to juniors because maybe I'll be transferring in as a junior. Um, I can message these folks and be like, hey, I'm really interested in transferring to Cal State Fullerton. I'd be an accounting major. Um, how has your experience been? And maybe some folks will answer, maybe some won't. But I know a lot of folks here, they may transfer to a four-year university further down the road. If maybe you're between like five different schools that you're curious about, this could also be a cool way to be able to network and then also find out some details as to what their experiences have been as a student in that university. So that's not so much looking for a job, but that is expanding on your network. So that is a a way that you can leverage the platform that might not be so apparent at first. I think a lot of folks think, "Oh, I'm only here to get a job," but there's a lot more that you can do to um, on the platform for a variety of reasons. Okay, now a couple things. I mentioned that there are a couple events that are popping up soon. So there is a whole events tab, and this is where you can see some different events that might be hosted by employers or might be hosted by the university. So it looks like there are two events in the month of April, hosted at CCSF. One is more, looks like resume related, and then one is a career panel for AAPI. Um, so if that's something that you're interested in, I definitely recommend checking those out. If I'm like, oh yeah, I wanna get started on tailoring my resume, it's about time that I kind of clean that up. I can go ahead and register for this event right here now. Um, if I have any questions about that, I can see who is like responsible for that event and reach out to them. Um, but I definitely recommend checking out the events and see if there are any events that you may want to attend in the near future. Now, related to events within the City College of San Francisco, there also is this section here that is the Career Center. And this is basically the hub for like resources within the Career Center. So there's a whole section here titled Resources. You'll see some like different ones that have been posted in the past, and there's some really great ones. I was checking these out yesterday, and I was like, there's a lot of good tools here. So I recommend checking those out. You can also see the opportunity to book appointments with advisors. So if maybe I want to schedule an appointment, I can go ahead and go here and see if it's drop-in or a one-on-one appointment. And you can see the different options that are relevant to that here. So if after this call you're like, okay, I want to have something that's more one-on-one, or I want to be able to focus on a specific topic, then I'd recommend checking out the Career Center tab in the appointment setting. We spoke a little bit earlier about collections on the job side. This is where you can see all of their collections as well. So you can go ahead and check those out too. Now, one of the last things that I want to mention is the feed. So the feed got a pretty new facelift recently, which is really exciting. The feed essentially is a way for folks to be able to build community in the platform. So the platform isn't just like job, 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 but it's also like here's a way to learn from each other or to be able to share in each other's feelings. Um, so if you want to be able to look at different categories of the feed, there are these different buckets here that you can go ahead and search for. So maybe if I'm looking for something that's more within my major, which in this example is more cybersecurity, I can see how folks have posted within like cybersecurity postings. And it looks like this one is sharing an accomplishment. Looks like this one is kind of more tech related. I'm not super techy, so some of this is a little foreign to me, but it's still exciting. You can also see posts from specifically from your school. So if I want to see if there's any postings from fellow CCSF students, I can go ahead and do that. Looks like this one was nice inspirational. Um, so you can go ahead and check those out there. Some of them are also more like interview tips. Some of them might be more employers. If I want to see like how employers are posting, you can go ahead and see that here. So the feed is kind of like a little bit more like interaction embedded into the platform. And then you can engage, you can save those posts if you want to revisit them later on. Okay, so I know that was a lot of information. So I want to do a TLDR version. Um, in my experience, the biggest tip that I can go ahead and give y'all opportunities to update is make sure you're updating the what you're looking for tab. This is going to help shape your experience on the platform, and it will be more relevant. So these main categories like location, industry, roles, and what type of roles are you looking for? Um, and then the system will adjust as accordingly. Now, if you're one of those individuals who maybe is going into multiple different fields, that's awesome. That's great. Go ahead and put in all of those fields into this tab. If you're someone who maybe you started your career doing um, something and now you're pivoting to something else and you want to focus on the something else, you can go ahead and do that there as well. Um, but essentially, your profile information, that is what I would look into building out. This is where you're going to start your foundation and it's going to make your future usage on the platform, I would say, easier. Um, Once you build out your profile information, the second thing that I would recommend doing is I would start maybe like saving some job preferences. Again, once you find that sweet spot of what you're looking for, giving that a save and indicate if you want notifications sent to you, and then you can go to your save section and look at any type of searches that you already have saved. So again, kind of putting in that foundation so that when you log in the future, the platform's doing the heavy lifting for you. But again, there's quite a lot to be able to explore. But yeah, I'd really start with building out your foundation. Um, I know that there's a lot of information here, but I would try to find a way or encourage y'all to find a way to see what system works best for you. Again, when I was starting my job search process, I gave that example of my friend who searched every single night. That was too overwhelming for me. Um, so finding my once a week system, that was much more manageable. That felt a lot more consistent to my working style. Um, but that is the information that I had for y'all. Um, I want to see if folks had any questions or anything that, maybe just want to review or vent or anything.
Well, I feel like I just found it really useful, all the tips. Um, this was like my last semester here at CCSF. And like it's kind of funny because like just like on Friday I started to play with Handshake, so I feel like this was really timely. And like I feel like all the tips like really come in handy because like while you were like explaining, I was like kind of playing with it as well. So I don't know. I just want to say thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Ray. I'm happy to hear that. Congratulations, by the way. That is awesome. Um, the one thing that I'd also recommend is also adding a personal email. I think y'all keep
Yeah.
emails. Okay, cool. Because I know a lot of people who are like, I use this 2 years after graduation.
Yeah.
Cool. But congrats.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions, concerns, or anything that they want to anyone that anything wants anything anyone wants to address? Okay, okay. Well, I know that this is being recorded, and I want to give a shout out to James just for going ahead and um, getting this scheduled and up and running. It was really good just to dive into this together. And those initial slides that I shared at the beginning were also um, sent your way.
Okay, thank you so much, Kendall, for coming and sharing this with us. And I will send everybody the slides. I could even drop them into the chat, but I think I'll send them to you in an email after the meeting. Um, and we'll figure out if there's some way of possibly posting the recording someplace so that more people can see it. But again, thank you so much, Kendall, for sharing your time with us on this.
Thank you, James, and good luck, everyone. Yeah, it's like, exciting. I know it's all the feelings. So, yeah, wish you all luck in the process. And feel free to reach out if you need any support.
Okay. So I'm going to stop the recording. If I can find it.